Okay, guys, thank you for joining session 1, Business Development Coaching. You guys have been specially nominated by your bosses. You three are special ones. Are you all excited to learn something new?
Yep.
Yes. Thank you so much for having us.
So what's the first process to learn something? You
Unlearning what you have learned before.
Good. You attended a lot of courses, I think. A lot of people who attend a lot of courses and seminars, they know this dialogue. Let's unlearn. So that's actually very relevant. We have to first empty the glass before we can put something new. Right? So good. So we need to, whatever we have learned, without any prejudice, without any bias, let's learn something new. New way of doing business, of getting business. Okay, let's start. I'm going to share my screen. You can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So before we begin, so let me just quickly introduce you. This is the first session, so I won't do this introduction every session. This is the only session you will come to know about me. So I've been into sales for the last 19 years. In fact, I've done nothing. I don't know any other job, any other function other than selling. So I work with very large companies, and I continue to work in a very large company called JSW. I worked with companies like JP Morgan, HP, RR Donnelley, Akamai. So these are all billion-dollar companies. I don't have experience working with mid-sized companies, but I've helped a lot of mid-sized companies. So for the last, I don't know, 3-4 years, I've been working with a lot of entrepreneurs and founders to fix and grow their sales. A lot of people have problem with their sales, how to grow sales, how to get business, how to attract clients. So I've been helping for the last 3 to 4 years. I was in Bangalore for the last 13 years. I meet a lot of startup owners, a lot of entrepreneurs. Bombay, Navi Mumbai, a lot of entrepreneurs come in touch with me, and whatever I want, I mean, whatever I could and I can, I help them.
Okay.
Yeah, I've released 3 books on Amazon. I think you have downloaded the maximum, Nupur.
Yeah.
I keep seeing a notification. So yeah, so crushing. Yeah, so I'll just stop for it 1 minute or half a minute. What do you think about that book? Useful? Not useful? Crash?
It is actually very useful. The small details which you have mentioned, like giving examples of the photographs which are right or not, or how do you search for something and then you have actually pointed it out, is something which was really helpful, I think.
Amaya?
Yeah, actually, it's good. Few things like in terms of that, I didn't knew few things, but going through that book, it really helped me know to explore more about LinkedIn. So it was a good time.
So in bottom line, you've not read it.
No, I have read it. I have read it
It's okay
twice.
if you're not ready, that's okay.
No, I have.
Okay.
Actually, it's quite a simple read. It's not a drag. That's what I felt. I mean, it's very easy to go through. And but my drawback, and I would say, is I have not implemented the tips that you've given yet. Like for example, the photograph, the background, I have it,
Yeah.
but I intend to.
Fair enough, fair enough. So there are a lot of tricks I've shared there. Like how do you get somebody to respond to your email? How do
Yes.
you write a message and all that stuff. So if you, once we come to the LinkedIn marketing section, you can
Yeah.
connect why it's mentioned in the book, right? So my second book was called Keep Them Coming. So it's a book how to attract clients, how to generate leads. This book is written for consultants, coaches, and teachers who want to start an online business. So I mentioned a very simple formula as to how they can get clients. So that's also very interesting. A lot of people are reading that book. And the third one is a fiction. So that's like what do you call, like my side project. Not I'm not very proud of that book, but anyways. So this is yeah, I'm a blogger. I hate writing, but I put myself, force myself to write, basically. So I have close to 2,000 subscribers who read my blogs, and especially in the areas of B2B sales and business development. And yeah, so my claim to fame is that I've turned around a lot of loss-making businesses to profitable. The last I would say 7 to 8 years, I've turned around a lot of businesses in my career. I've been handed over loss-making units. I turned them around to 30 times more profitable. I've grown my business. So I'll tell you, my main business is we run a very unique BPO outsourcing company, which employs only women. So we are India's largest women-only BPO. So when we started, we were only 30 women. At this point, we are 800 women. So that's my claim to fame, that I've grown this business massively. And yeah, so you can find me on these links if you're interested to know more about me, what I write, and what I do. Karmaworks.co, Hustling University, and BPO Karma. Okay. Just hold on. Yes. So before we begin, so just a quick recap of the ground rules. So good, you already showed up on time. So I'm very stickler for time, that I hold time as the highest commodity and highest precious, what do you call, aspect of your life. So if you cannot show up on time, so you will never be successful. That's what my philosophy is. So during whatever sessions we will have, so please show up on time. That's a simple request. Then whatever work is assigned to you, please do the work. No excuses. Lot of work. Samir is pushing me, Amit is pushing me, so I understand that, but we still got to do the work. And yeah, in the session, ask a lot of questions. So if you have a question, just raise your hand so that I see that. And in your chat also, you can put that. Yep, like I mentioned, so be in a very noise-free and distraction-free environment. Whatever 1 hour you spend should be quality without any distraction. Right? Great, so we start the session right now. I'm just going to turn my camera off so that we conserve bandwidth. I can see you guys. You can make notes, whatever you want to. And if you have a question, I can see you. Okay.
Can we also do that for some time?
I would right now. I'm going to ask you questions, so you can turn your camera on. You can keep your camera on. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
This is the session 1. Okay. Let me ask you. Why do you think every company has a sales department or a sales function? Why can't we live without this department? Is it required?
Yeah, to get the motor running.
Sorry, just come again.
To get the motor running.
Get the motor running. Okay.
The business has to flow up the line.
I'm just noting down. What are we saying? Okay, motor running. Nupur. Screen is frozen, I guess. Ameya, you can.
Yeah. So what I feel is, sales is very important part. If they are not there, the company might be a very challenging position to survive, because if the products or services are not being sold, it's a tough to survive in the market.
Okay. So if there are no sales, basically what you're saying is the company will fall apart.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. So what if you make a great product and you, like for example, there are shops, right? They open the shop and customers come in. They don't have salespeople. You can also do the same thing, right? Lemon yellow. What's wrong with that model? Just like you have Kirana store, you have Big Bazaar. That does not have salespeople, right? It just opens the shop and people walk in.
I think that's a different industry and it works
Yeah.
differently. And we have a different set of services, and to have a sales force, we kind recurring to have recurring sales and to actually I feel what I have okay now again this is a part of unlearning. Probably you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we usually market our services and products, right? So that people ask that okay, like we advertise it or we market it, and then after people ask, I think that's when the sale starts. Like I don't know, is that right, wrong? I don't know. I mean, that's when to convert that marketing bit to actual materialization is when the sales force comes in, or are they correlated? Or like I have this bit of a confusion, but I think we market things and then the sales force takes it up and converts the leads into actual deals. That's why we need sales.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Nothing wrong in that. So Nupur, you're back. So
I'm
what I
sorry.
was asking your colleagues, I mean, including yourself, is do you think sales is required? You can you can
Yes.
you can open a shop and let the customers walk in.
Yes, I think for any kind of organization, irrespective of the nature of it, I think it needs to keep on growing because the trends are going to change, the type of sale is going to change. Never would have someone would have imagined that everything is going to go digital in such a short span of time. So I think even this is a kind of learning for us, that how do you pitch to clients uh, digitally and not in person. So I think, yeah, from constant time to time, sales is required. And especially if you want to, grow in your type of field, yes, definitely.
Okay, great. So I think you all answered what I was going to tell. Sales is required because cash is the oxygen of any business. Without cash, it is just like having a party, right? If you have a party, but there's nobody paying for the party, so you will never have a party, right? So somebody's going to pay for the party. So sales is that person who pays for the party. So whatever is happening in the organization, so this is a party going on. You have operations people, you have HR, you have the CEO, everybody. But who pays them? Somebody is paying for the party, right? That's sales. So cash is the oxygen. Sales is the bridge between your customers' issues and your solution. You have a great product and the customer has a problem. But if you do not build that bridge, if you do not talk to the customer that you have a problem and I can solve your problem, then there's no point, right? You will be in your silo, the customer will be in the silo. There's nobody who's building that bridge between the customer and you. So sales does that job. So sales is not only bringing money, but sales is also passing on knowledge, is also passing on information. So that's why if you see the, I'll give you an example. Um, 1950s. Have you seen Mad Men in Netflix?
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I started.
So Mad Men, what is it? So they have salespeople, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are in what do they are advertising, right? They're
Yeah.
ad agency.
Yes.
So they need, if you, I don't know which episode was that. So he mentioned it is our job. It is our job to let the world know how good we are. If you're good, you better tell the world. You better tell your customers that this is, we are so good. Come and work with us. That is our job. And that is how salespeople started evolving. And also look at the age when they started in 1950s. The customer did not have access to information. Let's say somebody wants to buy a car. The sales guy was like a god because he knew all the features, all the benefits, all the technicalities. So when somebody walks into the car showroom, he's the only person who has the information. So there was something called information deficit. We'll come to today why that information deficit is not there and how sales is evolving. Now everybody knows about everything, right? Let's say you want to buy a car. You know more about the car than the sales guy today, right? You'll go to cardekho.com, you'll go to at NDTV, Auto, so many websites. You can find so much about the car. And why does Hyundai or Maruti still need salespeople? What is their role? They're not adding any value. We'll come to that. So it is a bridge between your customer's issue. You agree with this? The second
Yeah.
point?
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So companies' growth happens through sales. You can keep churning out great products, but if somebody is not buying, no point. Your scale of operations, let's say today you have business, you are projecting 20% growth. You can hire great people. You can hire a lot of designers, graphic designers, content writers, whatever. So this all scale happens because there's somebody who's bringing the money. There's somebody who's bringing in the oxygen into the company, and your company's brand. Obviously, when the salesperson is the brand ambassador, when you step out to client meeting, you meet client. The way the sales guy pitches, the way the sales guy promotes the company, it's all linked to the brand of the company. So sales is a very important function. Once single sales guy can completely take the company to great heights, or it can destroy their career, their reputation, right? Okay, so now the most important question. Like I said, in 2020, we are living in information, what do you call, overexposed information. There's so much information. If you just, your customer goes through your website, lemonyellow.net, I can find so much information about Lemon Yellow. Do we still need these three people? Let's say I'm the customer. I have a project. Do we need salespeople in 2020 when there's so much information? I can go to LinkedIn, I can go to Twitter, I can go to your blog, I can go to your website. I have all the information. I can just put in an email. Here is my project. Please start working on it. Amaya.
You can have all, you can understand all these things because everything is digital now, but still you at some point you will need sales help uh, in order to run the business. I'm not able to form an exact example, but at some point there is sales involved in anything for any organization, any big organization, big or small. There is sales involved in at some point. So cannot like discard sales completely. Like you don't need it only. I think that won't be there. That won't is it? It's not possible. Yeah.
Okay. But you didn't give me the reason.
How I can I like say something? How I look at it is, suppose people look at our website and they come to know about us from LinkedIn and they approach us through an email that they want to work with us, they want to give us a project. But then what next? Like, who is going to answer it, or who is going to? Is the designer going to do that? Is the content person? Is the boss owner going to pick this project up? Or who is that person who will be the point of contact, sort of? And also, are they convinced yet? They have just inquired. I don't know if somebody just gives you a project like that. Right? Like even while looking for cars, for example, if I'm looking at 5 cars that I like and I know each of features, or I'm convinced almost that I like one the best, but I'm still not like decided. I don't buy a car like that, like buy now, but I still go ahead and look at the car, or I still go ahead. Maybe I still need to be convinced or persuaded that okay, this is the right decision that you have taken. So I think there the salesperson comes in, like kind of confirms the. If someone's a lead, then I'll confirm or I'll talk to that person and be like, okay, you've come to the right place. I can guide you, and you'll get these services, you'll get these things, and I'll make it easier for you, and I'll bring you into the company, and then I'll hand it over to someone who take it. But directly, like who they approach is how I look at it. Like the bridge, where is the bridge? I'm still the bridge, I feel.
Okay. Yes, Nupur.
Yes. So I think digitally we know a lot about a lot of things right now, as we said, but all of us need some kind of human interaction as to if we're making the right decision or not, or whether I'm convinced that I want to buy this specific model And if I go into the showroom, a lot of times it happens that the sales guy actually convinces you that this is actually a better model, even though you have had 20 websites telling you that this one is actually ये product ज़्यादा बिकता है या ये ऐसा है. Or it's either vice versa as well. Even we ask, this is a general interaction with a sales guy asking, यार ये अच्छा है क्या, मतलब मुझे तो ये पसंद आया है पर ये भी अच्छा लग रहा है, कैसे ये बताओगे इसके बारे में. So I think there is some kind of human interaction we all need, a convincing voice saying, I think you're doing the right thing, go ahead, or wait, this is the one which is right for you, let me guide you here. So I think even though we have a lot of knowledge, some kind of convincing human interaction is required.
You all buy on Amazon, right? Flipkart, Amazon.
We do. Again, those are, I don't know, consumer goods.
Right. So who was the sales guy in Amazon? Who convinced you?
But then I think it's different, right? Not all the things. A service is a different thing.
Right.
Product is a different thing. There's more at stake.
The number one rule as to what a sales function or a sales department or sales people, the golden rule or the rule of the thumb is humans like to do business with humans. Okay. You can automate the entire thing, but there has to be a human element in a business. So even if you see, you cannot have a completely 100% digital business. There has to be a human element in any stage of the business. So Amazon is completely digitized, but its customer service is still human, right?
Yeah.
If you write a mail or you call them, at least there's somebody picking up. So, and you raised the point, Nikita, about being that is good. That's goods or commodity, right? So when it's a commodity business, what is a commodity? Any idea what's a commodity?
Something that's tangible and we can use it.
Ameya, Nupur, what's a commodity? The literal term?
Good or product.
So we keep using the word, this is a commodity business, a commodity business. This is a very important phase in business. It's called commoditization or commodity. It means, I'll give you a very simple example. Rin bar and surf bar, Ariel bar, Tikia. What is the difference between these two? There's no difference. One is 9 rupees, one is 10 rupees. Or 1 rupees, 9 rupees, or maybe both are same. So there we call them commodities. When two products being alike, the only differentiating factor is the price, which is commodity. So let's say that you see today there are hundreds of web designing companies, right? I can do it 3,999. I'll do 10 pages at 3,999. I'll give you hosting, domain, everything at 2,999. You see this, right? There are so many people. So we don't call that service business. We call it as commodity business because they have brought their services down to that level where the only differentiating factor is the price.
Okay.
When we go to a supermarket, you see cornflakes. The only when you pick up the cornflakes dabba is only because of the branding. Okay, Kellogg's I've heard. Let me buy that. Andar mein saman is the same. What you get in other cornflakes brand is the same thing. So it is a commodity brand. In your case, it cannot be commoditized because what you're doing is you are in the business of creativity. You're in the business of judgment, human judgment, right? You're single. You say you don't use yellow, use red. It can just totally change the perception of the brand, right? So your service cannot be commoditized. But as per modern definitions, any business that you bring down to a price tag is commodity. Let's say Samir is so desperate for business, he goes out and tells, "Kar denge, give me 4,999 mein kar denge aapka kaam." So he's actually reducing lemon yellow to a commodity. Right? So what Nikita mentioned that Amazon and Flipkart, we're not using our judgment right? If I have to, let's say, whatever I want to buy, let's say a headphone, I will just see 10 reviews. Boat ka acha hai, ki Bose ka acha hai, or MI ka acha hai. I'll just pick the reviews. I'll see the features. Almost everything is the same. Then I'll come to the most important factor: price. Okay, this is 1100. This is 2000. This is 900. My decision is done, right? So that is a commodity. So when you're selling a commodity, you do not need salespeople. But when you're selling a judgment-driven, a human, creative-driven business, you need somebody to communicate that value to your client. That is why, even in 2020, with so much of digitalization and so much of automation, we still have salespeople. At least I have a job, because even if my company can automate stuff, but nobody can go and communicate the value to the customer. That automation tool cannot do that. Right? So good thing is so we all have jobs now. So we have convinced that company needs us.
Yes.
So any question why we need sales as a function? Why we need somebody to actually go out and pitch to people, especially in your business. So this entire session, whatever we are designing, this is for Lemon Yellow. So I'm not going to give you generic, sales, gyan and all that. So this is designed for you guys. What is relevant to your day-to-day operations, day-to-day, interaction with your customers and all.
Okay.
So in case of Lemon Yellow, the need is there because what value, what perception you bring to the table for your customers, it cannot be automated. It cannot be automated. There has to be a human element to all your interactions with your customers. Period. This is true for all services related business. Even our BPO is services related. So that is why we cannot automate the sales function. We need salespeople. Agree with my point? Any? If you want to disagree, I'm very happy people who disagree with me. That means I'm working with smart people.
Not yet, but
Okay, great. Moving on. Okay, let me ask you this question. What's the difference between a driver and a chauffeur? Amaya?
A driver is the.
He drives a car. Chauffeur drives a car. Nupur, Nikita?
Both have the same function, but the economic
one has a more
strata-
sophisticated name.
Yeah, the
Okay.
economic strata and this differs. सूट बूट में ड्राइव करता है वो शोफर.
Okay, Nikita?
Yeah, I feel one has a more sophisticated name and a little elite kind of an appearance. I think that's
Okay. Let me ask you one more question. What's the difference between a cook and a chef?
Okay.
Chef is a degree higher to a cook, I feel. That's what it is.
Okay. So he's like the captain of all the cooks.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can call it.
a title higher than.
Okay. So what you're telling me basically, the functions are the same, but when let's say you have a driver at home, okay, whatever, Ramu Kaka, whatever you call it. So tomorrow you tell Ramu Kaka, आज से आप मेरे chauffeur हो. Just give me, what do you think Ramu reaction
More
will be?
experienced is a shopper, a little more experienced and knowledgeable, more well groomed.
Tell me what Ramu Kaka will feel. If you tell him, आज से आप मेरे driver नहीं हो, आप मेरे chauffeur हो.
Ramu Kaka would be lost,
Okay.
confused.
Taken aback.
Okay. Amaya. So let's say this is an educated guy. Ramu Kaka is well educated. He understands what a chauffeur means. What will be his reaction?
Think he's promoted? I don't know.
He'll feel he's got a promotion, right?
Yeah.
I kind of, you might guess it. Yeah.
Status is elevated.
Ah,
Okay.
he'll think like, yeah, I'm not a driver, I'm a chauffeur. So, ऐसा भी हो सकता है.
Okay. So the reason I'm asking this question is there is a negative perception or connotation about when we hear the word salespeople, right? Can you give me some examples why we hate
Because
salespeople?
that salesman wala jo term hai,
Why do we hate that salesman?
because he has a reputation for like hammering information and like kind of being too persuasive and too
Okay.
clingy sometimes. So that's why.
Okay. He is persuasive and he's hammering, right?
Yeah, but a little too much.
Amaya?
Yeah, I could go with the same thing.
So we hate salespeople because one you said is they're like annoying. If I can use the word annoying, right? They push you to the level of annoyance.
Yeah, I mean they have earned a reputation. The salesman
Okay.
stereotype that I'm
Right. Nupur, why do we hate salespeople?
I think they're very assertive and very pushy as to this this is the product we're selling and it has such good points and we want you to buy it, and the whole it's a load for the customer, and I think no one needs it from time to time.
So he forces you to take a decision. He's putting pressure on you, right?
Yeah, he tries very hard to convince you,
Yes.
this is very good, please try it out and all that.
Okay. What about manipulation? Salespeople
I
do that,
think
right?
yes,
Yeah,
I think there is lots.
yeah, sometimes, yeah.
So I think that I am particularly talking about like the sales, like the I don't know the door to door or the telecalling or that kind of a sales agent who is very I don't know they just want to push it onto you like they
Yeah,
just get very
yeah.
pushy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're not doing it tactfully. They're making it very trying to harm things. That's what I think.
I think to a
So,
point where we are just listening, they have a script going on. We can't even intrude in between and say anything.
so they have a single point agenda. They're not
Yes.
concerned about you. They have to drive the
Yeah, yeah.
script, get your money, right?
Yes.
Okay, I've just noted down your points. So you're saying that we don't like salespeople because they're very pushy. They have their own agenda. They want to finish their script and force you. They manipulate you. So these are some of the reasons, right, why we hate. So when you hear the word salespeople, some images conjured in your brain, right? That, like you mentioned, telemarketers, door-to-door salespeople, जो encyclopedia बेचते हैं रास्ते में, those people, right? They're pushy. They have only one point agenda. Right? Take my stuff, give me the money. Right?
Yes.
So there's a connection between the first question and this. What if tomorrow? So when let's say your customer is sitting, so there's a meeting pop up that happens. Meeting at 10:30 with lemon yellow salespeople. You're getting the point,
Yeah, yeah. The negative connotation comes
so,
subconsciously.
right? So there is some element of prejudice. Okay, ये sales वाले are some people who are going to come to my office who make a pitch, talk about themselves, and force me. Whatever points you mentioned right now, they'll be thinking the same thing. There are some people who are going to force me to take a decision. They're going to convince me, no matter what, that they are the best. Lemon Yellow is the best. Sign the contract, right? So what if I change your designation?
Yeah.
Something like this. Does it make a
Fancy,
difference?
Yeah, it will help.
fancy,
Yeah.
fancy.
It makes a difference.
Yeah, it would.
Yes.
What Amya? What difference?
The when I read this like growth consultants and customer success experts, so I come to know like these are they consult people and companies for their growth and all, and they are experts in this. So that my psychologically, I don't think them as salespeople. My thinking is a bit different. Like,
Do you
कि,
feel like a chauffeur?
yeah, might be like that also.
Okay. What comes in your mind, Nikita, when let's say
So
Nikita, growth consultant for Lemon Yellow?
my first reaction is it's very fancy. Second thing is like if I'm meeting someone who's a growth consultant, I'm a business, then I look at it as the person cares for my business and not just cares about
their motives.
driving their point. It feels like they care for my business because it's saying literally growth consultants or customer
Yeah.
success. So you've injected it with so much positive from my like the business's perspective somewhere I think.
Good.
I think it gives a very polished touch to it. And by saying that someone's a growth consultant, I think my impression would be that they're a very able person. So I think I'm placing this in good hands. Is
Perfect. Perfect.
So the designation portrays कि they are coming here to help you out with your growing your business. They are helping you out. So both the functions are same only, but the image changes when you use sales executive and a customer success experts or growth consultants. So my perception towards them gets changed, obviously.
Okay. So do not confuse between designations given to you from your company HR with your role. So these are roles. These are not designations. So somebody somebody meets you in the street. Amaya, what do you do? So your first reaction should be, I take care of my customers. What we call as elevator pitch in sales language, right? So when somebody meets me, somebody wherever I go, I don't tell that I am the business development head of this function or that. No, I am a customer success expert. I am a growth hacker. If you go to LinkedIn, these designations are very common these days. People are eliminating roles like sales manager, and all that.
Yeah.
This is becoming the new age. What do you call it? Designation. So your HR designation and your role could be different, but in your brain you should be very very clear. My job is to help my customer succeed. So if somebody tells you, Ameya, Nikita, Nupur, what do you do? You should say that I work for my customer success. Once you change, so your words have a meaning. The words, they change, they work in your subconscious mind. That is why if you read good sales books, they all start with psychology. 80% of it is psychology, 20% is mechanics. Right? What to use, LinkedIn, Facebook, email marketing, these are all tools that anybody can learn. But the behind that tool is the psychology. So if I'm very clear as to what my role in this company is, then no matter what, today let's say Facebook dies, Facebook gone, I have to only work with Just Dial. I'll work with Just Dial, right? Let's say tomorrow, a new thing comes up. TikTok is becoming big. Everybody wants to go to TikTok and do advertising in TikTok, right? So everybody's chasing the next hot thing. But these are tools. So behind the tool is the man. It's just like a good bat. So let's say you have a good bat, does not mean you'll make a century, right?
Yeah.
If somebody, you go to the shop and tell them, give me a bat that will make a century, what will the shopkeeper tell you? This bat does not make. You need to be a good batsman first.
yeah.
So how do you become a good batsman? Once you have that psychology trained, or you have that wired in your brain that I am not a sales guy who's pushing my product. Whatever points you mentioned just now, 5 minutes back, I'm not pushy. I'm not manipulative. I don't force my agenda on my customers. I do not force them to take a decision right away. So I've removed all the negative aspect, the aspects of the salesperson. Now I have transformed myself as a customer success expert. I am for you. So from today, make it a practice to use that in your signature or in your interaction with your customers, in your team meetings, that we are customer success experts. We are growth consultants. Right? So Nikita, what are you?
Um,
It's not
not used
fancy.
to it. I'm not used to it yet, but
Yeah, we are unlearning, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I am a growth consultant.
Yep, you're the growth consultant for Lemon Yellow.
Yeah.
If you see the first slide of the PPT, what does it say? Does it say sales coaching?
No.
No, no.
Let me go back to the first slide.
Lemon Yellow growth coaching.
LY growth. Growth coaching. Yeah.
Okay? There's a reason. This is the reason.
Sell to dominate. Nice.
We don't have to be salespeople to grow a company. We have to be customer focused. If you understand your customer's problem, if you understand your own service well, and if you can communicate, three things: problem, solution, communication, you have done the job of a salesperson. You don't have to call yourself as a salesperson, right? Agree, disagree?
Agreed.
Agree.
Okay, so now that you have, you believe that you're growth consultants and you're customer success experts, what do you think some qualities are required? You've already given the negative qualities. Tell me the positive qualities required to succeed.
Good
Nupur,
communication.
communication.
Detailed information about what you offer.
Sorry, just come again.
A detailed information about what you offer. Yeah, what can you solve?
You talk about knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge. You're right.
Okay.
I think empathy and connect.
Empathy and
Connect.
okay. What else?
I have to be persuasive.
Persuasive. Okay. So will these qualities, or are these qualities only required for salespeople, or these qualities can be had with any function? What's wrong with persuasiveness if somebody's in operations?
You can have it. I mean,
Mhm.
it could be. Others could also have it, but
When you have an internal team meeting, somebody is disagreeing. What quality do you require to convince that I'm right? You need persuasive, right?
yes.
Persuasiveness. So these qualities that you mentioned, it's perfect. So these will make you successful not only as a growth consultant, but as a successful professional. What you mentioned is very correct. You need a lot of in-depth knowledge about what you're selling, what you're offering to the market. You need empathy. If you don't put yourself in the customer's shoes, you can never connect. Then you need communication. Yes, you need good communication skills to convince. So let's see, from my personal experience, I've been selling for like close to 1.5 decades now. So what's keeping me going? And I tell the same thing to my team members. Whoever comes new to my team, I coach them and tell them. This is completely from my personal experience. Qualities to succeed. Energy. This is a common quality for all successful people. From starting from Tony Robbins to Sachin Tendulkar to Ranveer Singh, if they're successful, so there's one common thing: energy, extremely high energy. I don't know. Somebody said that if you have high energy, if you have low product knowledge, let's say you go to a meeting, you don't know your own stuff well. If you have high energy, you can overcome your shortcomings. The first thing to succeed as a salesperson or as a growth consultant is have high energy. In your meetings, in your internal team meetings, with your clients, anybody, with high energy. So now it is person to person dependent. How do you develop high energy? Somebody wants to go vegan. Somebody wants to have that protein bar. Somebody wants to do Baba Ramdev. Perfectly fine. But without high energy, don't show up for client meetings. Getting it?
Yes.
First quality to succeed is energy. If you have high energy, the rest all things can be had. Making sense? You have to keep going.
Yes.
You have to keep going. So the only thing that you can have a long career as a growth consultant or a sales in a sales role is you keep going. You keep doing it. When others have given up, you keep. You see that famous. It comes in WhatsApp or Facebook, right? Somebody is digging that mine gold. He's just 1 inch away from that gold and he gives up.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
famous. That visual thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, we have seen.
So for that you need energy. So when I mentioned energy, so energy means physical, mental. Some people are very fit; they go to the gym. They're mentally very down.
So I was
They
just
lack
going to
energy.
ask that does that mean I have to be like Ranveer Singh, or is it okay if I'm in my demeanor I'm a little I'm not very emphatic, but mentally I'm energetic.
You're mentally energetic, but physically not energetic.
I'm not showing the whole, I'm not very expressive is what I'm trying to say, suppose. But you said,
Likewise.
yeah,
The good thing is you're aware of it.
yeah.
You're aware of your shortcomings. That's the first starting point to make an improvement. So I'll tell you that small trick. So do you think this all this activity? So there's something to learn from everybody, right? So what
Yeah.
if you see good salespeople? No? Good salespeople, they're very introvert. It's a very contrarian view that sales they're very extrovert, they talk a lot, they have high energy, they're pitching. No.
Mm.
If you see
So,
actors, you see good
yeah.
actors, Hollywood, Bollywood, wherever, they're all introverts. You see the best of businessmen, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. Do you think they're extrovert people? They're introverts. So don't live with a lot of guilt that I'm not expressive. You're doing the right thing. So the trick is, it is just like acting. You turn off and turn on. Let's say you go to a client meeting, the client is sitting in front of you. You know you're aware that you're not an expressive person. Try to be an actor. For that moment, try to have a smile, try to have high energy, try to position yourself as a outgoing person. It will not happen immediately, but you have to be conscious of doing that. I have learned it also the hard way. I was flat. I was low in energy. Client meetings. I used to hate myself. If I have to lift myself pitching, else I will not buy this guy's product. The first question you should ask is if Nikita is pitching to Nikita, will I buy? If Nupur is pitching to Nupur, will Nupur buy their own product? Same with Amaya. Will I buy my own product? So you have to be very critical of yourself. At the same time, be what do you call? Be aware of yourself. So the trick, try to do this. Next time you have a meeting, you have whatever you think, your shortcomings, right? You're not an extrovert or you have a problem with energy. Try doing a little bit of acting. Try to what do you call? क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Act karo as if for that moment you are like an extrovert personality. A lot of sales people that teach that in sales coaching.
Okay.
Right? What does it mean, Amaya? Persistence. Simple English. Kya? What does it mean? Never give up. The biggest quality of a salesperson, you said, right, the salesperson is annoying because he's hammering you down. Because somewhere he's persistent. Right? He's got persistence. No, I will not give up. I have to sell this product to this person. So there is a thin line between being annoyingly persistent, and being professionally persistent. In
Yes.
sales, what we call, if you go to Shoppers Stop or any any mall, they'll try to push you the membership card, right? The membership card le lijiye na.
Yeah.
Right? So I make it a point to teach those people. I tell the boss that the golden rule is to know and go. If somebody has told you 2 no's, you stop the pitch. If the third no, the client is already irritated. He's already irritated. He wants to fill up the feedback form. If you go 4th, that means you lost it. You just broken that bridge. You want to maintain that bridge, right? You don't want to burn that bridge. Tomorrow, when the customer same time comes again, you'll have some friendly relationship. So why do you want to spoil that relationship by pitching in so many times? So 2 no and a go. So coming back to persistence is never give up excuses. Never give excuses. Sales works on deadlines. Growth consultant, you can make fancy words. You have 12 months to prove, right? 12 mahine mein you've done the job, you've showed the numbers, or you've not done it. So this is where persistence comes into picture. Can you be the most hardworking person in the room? What is the difference between Kambli and Tendulkar?
Guys, we know this.
Kambli was way more talented here. He was way more talented than Tendulkar, right? What happened?
He channelized it elsewhere, whereas Tendulkar was persistent about succeeding.
He used that quality, persistence. When Kambli was born gifted, he was naturally talented. He abused his talent. He said, I can play. I'll just show up in the match and play. So when he was partying, Tendulkar was on the nets. So remember one point, that hard work will eat talent for breakfast. If you're the most hardworking person, you can beat any talented person. So if you're in a room, there are a lot of talented people, a lot of smart people. So let them be talented, let them be smart. But you should tell yourself, I am the most hardworking person. So if you, any day, at any given day, hard work will always beat talent. That's the golden rule of world. That's how the world functions. Agree?
Yes.
So have high energy, never give up, never give excuses. Ye nahi hua, wo nahi hua. Nobody's interested in stories. What's gratitude? Why is it important in sales? What is this guy talking? Amaya, why is it mentioned gratitude? How will it make you a better salesperson if you have more gratitude?
I'm not so sure, but
You're not able to connect.
yeah, maybe.
Why is gratitude in this? Nikita?
Generically, I know gratitude is a very important, such quality to have in general also. But in this context, I'm not sure. Should I be grateful that I have a job first?
Sorry.
Should I be grateful that I have a job first?
Okay. Okay.
And be appreciated that I have this opportunity.
Okay.
And with that, go ahead and do or die. Kind of a thing. I don't know. Is it leading to that? I could be wrong.
Nupur?
I can't connect to this point.
Okay. So this is based on my personal experience, and this is what I tell everybody, whoever I train or I interact. Anything in your life it has grown, it is because of your gratitude. Because you've been thankful, you've been happy. When you're thankful, you're happy. And whatever you put out, it comes back to you in a multiplier effect. Whatever you put out, it comes back to you. Newton's third law of motion. This is science. This is not spirituality. Whatever I give, it will come back. So when I practice gratitude, today you have a job because the company is able to pay you. So be thankful for that. So you told the right thing, Nikita. How is the company able to give you salaries? You should be thankful to your customers that you have great customers, right? How is the customer able to pay you? Because he's getting good service from Lemon Yellow. So you have a great operations team, you have a good delivery team, and you have good bosses. So if you practice this, that I'm thankful, just wake up and be thankful that I have a job today. A lot of people don't have jobs. This today's time, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have customers to work with. They're shutting down shops. A lot of people don't have the companies have shut down. So if you have a job, if you have a customer, if your salary is coming on time, be thankful for that. So when we are thankful, that means we are giving out to the universe or giving out to our own what do you call it, subconscious mind, that I want more. There is a little bit of a selfish interest in being credited also. So when I say I thank you for something, it is bouncing back. Newton's third law of motion. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right?
Yeah.
This is pure science. So you don't have to do anything. 2 minutes, 1 minute, just close your eyes and be thankful. That's what. If you, I'll tell you one movie. I don't know which movie is that. I think it was Jerry Maguire. You seen Jerry Maguire? Tom Cruise.
I have.
You've seen, right? I don't know. He goes to the client meetings and he's praying. He's sitting outside. He's lost everything. If he
Yeah.
closes that deal, he'll make some money. Otherwise, he's gone. He's finished. Neil Armstrong, he's broken the barriers of science. He's at the cutting edge. He's landing on moon. He's praying, right? The best of doctors before me operating a surgery, they pray, they thank. So what does it mean? That there's certain things which are not in control of you. Even if you think that we are running the show, it is not. There's somebody else who's running the show for us. So practice gratitude. 2 minutes. Servitude. Let me explain it to you before Servitude in simple English means we are here to serve. Salespeople are not meant to sell. They are meant to serve. That is why I told you, if I change your designation from a driver to a chauffeur or from a salesman to a growth consultant, your brain will start working differently. So when your basic goal of any business, why a business exists in this world, is to serve. Serve is customers, service. The day companies stop serving, companies vanish. You could be $1 billion company, you'll just vanish off. The day you stop caring for your clients, you stop serving and have your customers' interest in your heart, you'll be finished. So these are the 4 big qualities. Right? Again, see, law of what is that called? Third law of Newton. Give more than you receive. If the client assigned you for, let's say, a web designing project, without asking, you give him something more, like analytics, or you give him professional services, you give him some extra. Will that client stick to you? Will that client have better respect and opinion about you when you give more without asking?
Yes, definitely.
Making sense?
Yeah.
So if you go to normal sales training, they'll tell you make more calls. What are the qualities to succeed? Make more calls. Right? Learn your script well. Dress well. Dress appropriately. But this is based on my personal experience. So what is keeping me going and what is keeping my team going is very 4 essential. These are non-tangible. You cannot see them. This is all in your brain. Energy is within you. Persistence is within you. Gratitude is within you. Servitude is within you. You got to use your inner strength to, if you want to, see when I'll give you one more story. Let's say you have a mango tree, right? Let's say the mango is not coming out good. It's rotten or the size is very small, whatever. What do you do?
Take better care of the tree.
So do you work on the mango or do you work on the roots of the tree?
Roots of the
Roots
tree.
of the tree. Roots of the tree.
So you work on the invisible, right? You cannot see the root, right? So if you want to make an impact on the visible, you have to work on the invisible. So you don't go and wash the mangoes, right? And polish the mangoes. You put more good fertilizer on the root, on the soil. You put more money, or maybe you fix the depth of the soil, whatever. You fix the root. You fix the root, automatically your fruits will be better. So the bottom line is you have to work on the invisible. So these are all invisible. This is all hidden inside you. Nobody can see it. So if you work on that, automatically your outside will change.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, just a second. I have one more point to ask.
Please.
Uh, is being a good observer also a part of this?
Yes, absolutely. Good at something. So if I have to make this list, na, good at something, it just run to like 5, 6 slides. So if you're good at something, definite, you should continue doing that. So anything that is good will always be helpful. It will not go for waste. So if you're a good observer, okay, I'll tell you one more. I'm just jumping the gun right now. What is, what also, if you observe good salespeople, there's a client and there's a salesman. There's a very good salesman. Just observe them. You mentioned about observance, right?
Yeah.
A good salespeople will only talk 30% of the time. If the discussion is for 1 hour, a good salesman will only speak for 30%. Means 30% of 60 minutes is what? 18 minutes? Correct, enough?
Yes.
You watch him. He'll speak only for 18 minutes. The trick of a good salesman is he's observing he's watching for what do you call it? Insights from the customers. He's watching for hidden signals. You have to listen more. It's a wrong person. We're breaking a lot of myths. Salespeople always listen more. They talk less. If you see executives from big companies, I meet people from SAP, from Microsoft, from Google. They're silent. They'll be only silent. They'll ask you a question. The customer is all vomiting out all the information. They take that information. They use it with you. They use it for you. So when you mentioned about good observing skills, a good salesman is a very good observer. He's watching. He's watching for signals. He's watching for information because knowledge is power, right? Let's say in a discussion, the client is saying, you know what, we raised $1 million a couple of months back, and now we're planning to do this. If he's not paying attention, he will miss that part where he said, we raised $1 million. That is ammunition for me as a sales guy. I'll pick up that word. Tell me, if you have raised $1 million, how you plan to use it, so you can push more products. Getting it? So now that, what is the signal? That he has money. He has money to spend. So what if he was not listening? A lot of people, salespeople, make the mistake of thinking that when will the customer stop? Now let me pitch. He's waiting for the customer to stop, right? We also do the same mistake. We wait. कब भी बंद होगा मैं अपने pitch में आऊँगा. No, always listen more. So again, one new thing that you learned is 70% of the talking your customer should do. You should only have powerful questions in those 30%. In those 18 minutes of the conversation, let's say if it's a 1 hour meeting, you should ask very, very powerful questions and shut your mouth. That's it.
Okay.
You can apply a lot of pressure to your customer with silence. We'll come to that. Any other point you want to discuss?
So just this energy thing, kind of, and also when Nupur said about observation. So I have this observation about energy of Amit sir and Sameer sir. So I have been to a lot of meetings with both of them, and they both are very good at selling. I would say. I mean, they're very good at, uh, you know, both have very different kinds of energy. So I think Sameer sir is more empathic. He's more expressive. In from an exterior is what I'm saying. Like, he's very take your grab your attention, talk very like lively way. Tone is always high, and that kind of a person. And but again, I'm just observing. This is my observation. And Amit sir, on the other hand, would be very reserved and very. He'll talk about the services more, but he's also in a way selling. Like when we go to these meetings, I can see that they are, like you said, they're looking for those opportunities and they're talking the right thing at the right time. But in their own style. Like both of them have their own very, I would say, opposite kind of personality when they are talking to clients. So I am like trying to learn from that adapt my own, like bring out my own personality. Like I'm somewhere in the middle is where what I put it. Like when I start talking, I talk. Like I am expressive, but otherwise I'm a very like reserved person. So I don't know which route to take sometimes. Like, am I being too? Am I being doing overdoing it? Is also sometimes my fear. Am I being too energetic just because I want to? You said act it, so I could go wrong there. Or
Right.
am I being too reserved? I don't know which is the right thing. Maybe I'm just figuring it out. But what one thing I've noticed is they do observe where the need is for the customers. Like I think here is the right time when I should talk about the other service that also we do. Or this is the right place where I should hit the nail. Okay, you have been having this challenge and I can come and rescue you kind of. So that I have seen, but the energy bit I'm still not clear about. Like what to adapt.
Mhm. Yeah, I know these two people for the last 4 years, more than you guys.
Yes.
You know, what is the common theme about these two people? If I have to tell, why they're successful or whatever they're doing, they are genuine people. Nobody has taught them sales. They're not attending any sales coaching classes. They are authentic. Amit is being Amit, Samir is being Samir,
Yeah.
right? So they're not. Samir is by nature high energy person, so he's not putting on an energy when he's in front of a client, right? Amit by nature is reserved and he's that left side. We use the left side for logical thinking and all that, right? The left side personality, left brain personality. It is a perfect marriage. He's right brain, he's left brain. The
Yeah.
common theme about these two people are they are authentic. They are not putting on something,
Yeah.
right? So when you mention about energy, so when you say energy does not mean, yeah, you can be bubbly, you can be extroverted, but people can catch, human beings can catch that, right? And whether
Yeah.
it's genuine or not. If by nature, let's say you're reserved, why you want to be somebody else? Yes, what I meant by being energetic is show that concern that you're not bored in that meeting, or you're not put off with that meeting, you genuinely care. So at least make that effort to be energetic in that.
Yeah.
You don't have to
Like
put.
I'm interested in the
Yes.
thing.
Be very so with your eye contact, with your posture, when you sit straight and look somebody eye to eye with high energy, with a smile on your face, that gives a lot of confidence to the other person.
Right.
Let's say you
Yeah.
are going to buy something, just put yourself as a buyer. Somebody who's well dressed, who's talking to you, with good eye contact, with high energy and with a smile, you have high opinions about the person, right? Even if you go to buy a washing machine, if the sales guy is high energy and is talking polishedly as well, is well spoken, we have high opinions of that person. And first impression can make or break the deal. You see, if the person does not like you, he has no reason to do business with you. He can go and he can take his business anywhere. There's so many companies.
Yes. Right.
So one good thing is that you're aware of your shortcomings, and you're observing how other people are doing it well. So try to imbibe. Second meeting, make it like a exercise. Don't rush into that meeting. Do those small little changes like an actor. Just switch on the bulb. Let me try to be somebody else for that moment, and see the difference. You will start liking yourself.
Sure. Yes.
Nupur, Ramya, any other comments?
No.
No, actually, it's what Nikita experienced with meetings with Amit sir and Samir sir. I experienced meetings with her, Nikita. So I have been to a couple of meetings with her. So what she experienced with them, I experienced with her. Simple, just like
Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we'll do an exercise right now. So you have your notebooks, right?
yeah.
Yes.
So what I want you to do is watch this video. Okay, so there's a little bit of a strong language used. So you can pardon me for that. But I think we're all 18 plus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we can take a little bit of that language. I'm going to just play that video. So this is a very powerful movie scene. Have you seen this movie, Glengarry Ross?
No.
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 So I'm going to just play that. Let me see. So please note down all the behaviors of all the characters. Okay, whatever you watch, just be a good observer. Like Nupur said, be a good observer and just note down all the behaviors, all the personality traits.
Okay.
I'm going to just check the volume. Just hold on. Can you hear?
Richard, that's a lot of land. Who wants it to be a
Yes.
Yes.
Now I can't.
Yeah.
7:30? So who is that? Where's Mr. Rump? Well, I'm not a leech, so I don't know, do I? Let me have your attention for a
Can you hear, right?
Not exactly. No.
Not very clear.
No, not understanding.
Not very clear. Huh? How do you want to play this? Let me see.
Share audio, or is it embedded?
Yeah, we can just. So can you open? I don't know how to play this. Let me try opening YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, so if you can open that, and before sharing your screen, you can do a share audio. Yeah, that will make it clearer.
Just hold on. This is better.
woman in White Plains on the hook. 5 units, Mountain View, what have she? She has to check with a lawyer. Let her check with a
No.
lawyer.
Can you pause it?
Hmm?
Stop sharing.
Okay.
And before you share, I think below there is this option. Did you do a share audio?
Share audio.
Yeah.
I don't see share audio.
When you do start screen share, you get some options like before you select the screen.
Okay, share computer sound. Like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, hold on.
Couldn't tell you. I don't like the whole thing, you know, because
Yeah,
what need is the leads. They won't give out.
The rich get richer, that's the law of the land. Who belongs to the BM?
It is 7:30.
So who is that?
And where's Mr. Roma?
Well, I'm not a leash, so I don't know, do I?
Let me have your attention for a moment. Because you're talking about what? You're talking about bitching about that sale you shot. Some son of a bitch don't want to buy land. Somebody don't want what you're selling. Some broad you're trying to screw, so forth. Let's talk about something important. Are they all here?
All but one.
Well, I'm going anyway. Let's talk about something important. Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only. You think I'm fucking with you? I am not fucking with you. I'm here from downtown. I'm here from Mitch and Murray. And I'm here on a mission of mercy. Your name's Levine? Yeah. You call yourself a salesman, you son of a bitch?
I don't gotta listen to this shit.
You certainly don't, pal. Because the good news is you're fired. The bad news is you've got just 1 week to regain your job, starting with tonight. Starting with tonight's sit. Oh, have I got your attention now? Good. Because we're adding a little something to this month's sales contest. As you all know, first prize is a Cadillac Eldorado. Anybody want to see second prize? Second prize is a set of steak knives. Third prize is you're fired. You get the picture? You laughing now? You got leads. Mitch and Murray paid good money. Get their names to sell them. You can't close the leads you're given. You can't close shit. You are shit. Hit the bricks, pal, and beat it, because you are going out.
The leads are weak.
The leads are weak. The fucking leads are weak. You're weak. I've been in this business 15 years.
What's your name?
Fuck you. That's my name. You know why, mister? Because you drove a Hyundai to get here tonight. I drove an $80,000 BMW. That's my name. And your name is you're wanting. And you can't play in the man's game. You can't close them. Then go home and tell your wife your troubles. Because only one thing counts in this life. Get them to sign on the line which is dotted. You hear me, you fucking faggots? A, B, C. A, always B, B, C, closing. Always be closing. Always be closing. AIDA, attention, interest, decision, action. Attention. Do I have your attention? Interest. Are you interested? I know you are, because it's fuck or walk. You close or you hit the bricks. Decision. Have you made your decision for Christ? And action. AIDA. Get out there. You got the prospects coming in. You think they came in to get out of the rain? A guy don't walk on the lot lest he wants to buy. They're sitting out there waiting to give you their money. Are you going to take it? Are you man enough to take it?
Okay. How was it? You have seen that movie? You not seen that movie?
No.
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 Because it's one of the most
I'm
iconic
going to
scenes.
now.
One of the most iconic scenes in Hollywood. Alec Baldwin is the actor's name. Alec Baldwin. Right? He's that serial, right? 30s Rock. So this movie is called Glengarry Ross. So you understood the scene. Tell me about the scene. What is the scene going on? Amen.
Okay, so firstly, he wants to like create a stage, like wants to talk really important, but everyone was like ignoring him or taking him a little bit lightly. So no one was paying him attention. But the way he talked, and then
Mm-hmm.
he like kind of use a threatening kind of thing to get everyone's attention and to know where you are and where am I. That kind of behavior, very dominative and impulsive kind of thing, maybe. And he's like, you have two choices: either you do or you walk off. Kind of this.
Okay. Nupur, क्या चल रहा है scene में? What is going on?
I think they were a bunch of lazy salesmen who were enjoying their evening coffee and not really making any sales. They were just sitting ducks. So someone had to come in who was in charge and show them their position, why they were hired, and what will be the consequences if they don't actually do their jobs right now.
Okay. Nikita, what's the scenario?
He's kind of grilling the sales team where they're not making anything happen, they're giving excuses and also very complacent. They just have a job and they're sitting. But they're not acting on it, or they're not being very. They are looking disinterested and not very. And he's very firm, and he's actually so assertive to a point of arrogance to kind of wake them up and shake them up to do their job. Is what I saw.
Okay. So let me tell you this. I've seen this movie like 2 or 3 times. So these people are all working in a real estate company, right? So they're getting leads, but the company is not doing well because somebody's making excuses. This is not that guy says the leads are weak. If the leads are not weak, you are weak, right? So this movie, the scene is where this guy has been hired as a consultant. He's not an employee of this organization. He's been hired to fix the sales. So he walks in at evening 7:30. It's raining. He says, "Tonight you have to close." So if you see the rest of the movie, they actually run out in the night to close deals. People go in the night. They knock the doors of people and they make them sign contracts. So this movie scene is about this guy saying, "I am on a mission of mercy. If you work with me, I won't spare you. The good. He said the good news is that you're fired." So that's a scenario that he's come as an external person to fix something in the organization. So you saw some characters, right? 3 or 4 characters over there. So Nupu, start with what behaviors did you observe?
Lazy, laid back, not
Whose character are you talking about?
interested in taking orders.
Which character?
Sorry.
Which character are you referring to? Whose character are you describing this?
All the employees, the real estate employees.
Okay.
I think they were lazy, laid back, not really interested in taking orders from anyone.
Mhm. All right. What about the central character?
Authoritative, charismatic, uh, arrogant.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. Amaya?
Yeah, like the other employees, they were relaxed, they were chilled, a bit lazy back. They weren't that much interested in bringing up the numbers. They were a bit exclusive, like so they were making excuses that the leads were weak, and they are perfect, and it's the lead's fault. And the main character, his can be a bit of dominance. He's like a bit of authoritative, a bit of what you can say, harsh attitude. Ki this we have to do this, and either you work on it, otherwise you're gone. And he has made it very clear what the situation is. If you do this, you get the first prize, the Cadillac. Second, you get a nice. Third, you can get lost. So it's very clear. His statement is very clear. This is this or is that.
Mhm.
And yeah, and he's
Okay, Nikita.
So when the protagonist, like the guy, he enters, the first thing I notice about him is that he's very entitled. So he looks entitled.
Entitled.
Yeah. So it looks like he has a authoritative figure, and a sense of entitlement, like you have to listen to me kind of an attitude. So that I saw in the guy. And the other employees, like the one who's taking coffee, seems to be again complacent, doesn't care much about the making the sales. He's complacent. He's just going about enjoying his coffee and sitting on his desk. And one person looked indifferent, like he didn't care. I think the one who sat before the coffee guy, he looked a little indifferent, like जो भी चल रहा है मुझे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है वाला, that kind of a vibe. And the main guy is obviously he's very assertive, he's authoritative, he's to a point harsh, but I think his job is that. Otherwise, people won't take him seriously, and it's clearly seen in the scene that people are not taking him seriously in the beginning. So yeah.
Right. Okay, great. I think you all hit the nail. So the reason I showed you this video is we can all relate to these characters, right?
yeah.
We find them in our daily lives. We find them in our offices. We find them everywhere, right? People making excuses, people lazing around, people chilling out, and that tough boss. We all seen that. So this particular character, when it comes to sales, we spoke about energy. See, he's not bursting out with energy, but when he's talking with conviction. That's the kind of energy you require. So everybody use the word assertive. So this is what we mean by assertive, right? So we don't know, we cannot judge him that he is by nature a rude person or a harsh person. But like what you said, Nikita, maybe his job requires him to do that.
Yeah.
So in that moment, it's like that scene, like that actor that I mentioned. When you go to client meeting, you change your personality. So in this, he's been given that job to fix some lazy people. So he has to be that firm. If he's not firm, he cannot fix it, right? He's been hired to fix certain things. If he's soft, if he's nice to people, then what's the point? He will not get the job done. So this is what is meant by energy transition. When it is required to do the job, flip. If you see that sentence he mentioned, there's a very famous dialogue. You get T-shirts of those dialogues. This movie is so famous. Coffee is for closers. The very first, that guy will be filling up his coffee mug. He has to keep that coffee down. Coffee is for closers. If you Google in Amazon, you'll find the T-shirts of coffee is for closers. So he's very powerful. When the scene ends, he gives very powerful, what do you call it? Theory, sales theory, AIDA. Attention, interest, decision, action. If you follow theory, sales, there's a lot of sales theory books. They revolve around these four concepts: how to get attention of your customer, how to generate interest in what you're selling, make them to take a decision, and then get into action. These four things. So he summed up the entire. If you have to read a book now, it'll take 2-3 months. He just told you in half a minute. Always be closing AIDA. So today, if you see all inbound marketers, if you see all the HubSpot, whatever they're using, inbound marketing, outbound marketing, they work only on this four philosophy: attention, interest, decision, action. You are aware of sales funnels, right? How you create marketing funnels and sales funnels. What is the job of a funnel? It is through only these four functions. You catch somebody's attention through a lead magnet, through whatever, ebook, blog, white paper. You generate interest in what you're offering, make them take a decision. If the product is made for them, you make them sign that dotted line. Then you get into action. Right? So this movie was released like 30 years back. It's still relevant. It's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the best part, what I felt about the scene was when the guy asked him like, "Who are you?" Like the way he gives that answer, that you are driving a Honda normal and I am driving an $80,000 BMW. So it clearly defines like who you are and what you are like. So the person, he like simply just quiets off. It's like a shutting close statement. He was, I'm this person. So that's what my favorite best part was.
So that's a very good observation.
Yeah.
See, in India, we are not born to, we're not raised to be very flashy. It will be considered if somebody who are rich might be, somebody comes and tells you like this, you will just dismiss him, right? Because we're not brought up in that environment. But Americans, they are brought up in that environment. They don't take offense to these kind of. I worked in the US for 12 years. That's the way they talk. If somebody is doing good in their life now, they will always, what we call in India, show off. So they don't mind doing that because they are born like that. From their school, they're born to be flashy, to be flamboyant. They're doing good. They will, they will make it a point that everybody looks at them. The culture is different. They follow a different set of values. They have a different set of values. They are materialistic by nature. If they drive 80,000 Mercedes, they will make sure that everybody knows that he's driving $80,000 Mercedes. So we might think as Indians that he's so rude and he's arrogant, but actually it is not. It is the way they are. Okay, moving on. You want to see one more video?
Yeah.
Okay, I think this video is similar. This is also similar. So we are running short of what's the time at 11:30.
Yeah,
right?
the time is.
Yeah. So we are running short of time. You got to go back. So we'll watch it later. So I have only a couple of things to cover right now. This is what you have to do. You have to start doing this. So have you guys all making notes, right? What new things we learned? Number one, change your roles. You're not sales executives, BD executives, whatever lemon yellow HR gave you, that is fine. That is there in your papers. But when you're out in the world, what are you?
Growth
Consultants
consultants
and customer
success experts.
Yep. You keep telling that to yourself, it will become very natural. Tomorrow you will not find it fancy or you'll not find it awkward. It will become very natural if you keep telling this to yourself and to your clients and your bosses. Right? So number one, what you're going to do from today, take this as a pledge, invest in yourself. When I say invest, literally it means invest. You are the biggest asset. If you don't invest in yourself, why will somebody else invest in you? So how do you invest yourself? Read every day. Every day. For the last 15 years, I read. No excuses. I travel by local. I do not miss out reading. I do not miss out a single podcast. I don't miss out on my day-to-day, whatever discipline I've set. I'm from Bangalore. I'm not used to this traveling by locals, but I take this as a, to make myself more tough. I take the locals, but I don't give excuses that I've missed out reading my blogs so read about the industry, what is happening in the design industry, what is happening in digital marketing. So you have to read. That's a non-negotiable item. 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Take the easiest route. Start 15 minutes. If you do not have 15 minutes, that means you don't have a life. If you do not have 15 minutes, your life is in somebody else's control. Listen to podcasts. We all are having amazing headphones to listen to Ghana.com, Spotify. Use 15 minutes to listen to one podcast. One book every month. I'll make it easy. Make one book. Read one book every 2 months. That's okay. Okay. But this is something you cannot. You should keep this for the rest of your life. Watch one inspiring movie every month. These are not tough. Does it look tough? Reading 15 minutes a day, listening to one podcast 15 minutes. But if you grow yourself 0.1% every day, in 365 days, how much will you grow? 36%. So it's like a stock market. What if the stock grows 36% in a year? It's a blockbuster stock, right? Okay. Keep failing fast. So whatever you're learning today, do not keep it to learning. You've got to implement it. You have to fall. It's like learning how to ride a bike. You cannot learn to ride a cycle or a bike without falling. You've got to fall. Right? So don't theorize. Implement it fast. Fail faster. Learn it fast. The only way to learn best way to learn is to fail. Number 3, very important. Nothing is more important than time. Your time. Your time is the most precious of all things. Block periods of time. Okay. These are my tools. You can quickly note it down. What blogs you should read. What I read every day. What podcasts. What books you should start with. You know how to download podcasts? You go to your app, download the podcast app. That's it. And you search for these names.
Okay.
Okay, so one important thing. So you install this Chrome extension in your browser. It's called Pomodoro Chrome extension. See, that the technique is when you're doing something, you will not do anything else. You block that period of time. So this Chrome extension will keep a track of it. It will give you a buzzer. We'll talk more about it in the coming sessions. So these are some of the tools to succeed. Please make a note and start implementing. Don't theorize. Don't rest. This is not a training session. This is a coaching session.
Is it called Marinara Pomodoro Assistant?
Not sure, but it should say Pomodoro. So whatever, there's some red color logo as well.
It's a red tomato.
Yeah.
Marinara.
Yep. Right. So one quick exercise I want to. So next session is on Thursday. I will share one file with you. This is not a group exercise. This is an individual exercise. Okay. So that file will have about lemon yellow. I'll just quickly show you the file. Can you see this?
Yeah.
It's a blank spreadsheet. So I want you to individually fill this up and send it to me. I'll share this with you. All right. This is not a group exercise, it's an individual exercise. So please fill this up and send it back to me. So this is just a warm-up session today. So we've not gone very deep into your daily, what you should do daily, and what all concepts you should be applying in for sales and business development. This is just a warm-up session. So what did we cover today? We spoke about behaviors, right?
Yeah.
Your attitude, your behaviors matter. That's the foundation. 80% is psychology, 20% is mechanics. Focus on being the good batsman. Don't focus on the bat. Try to be a very good batsman right now. So this is
Yes.
these are the key takeaways. Okay, before we wrap up, anything else you want to share? Where do I share? What's your email ID? You have your email IDs, right?
Yes.
Should we? Okay.
Would remember
Nikita
to
and
do.
Sorry, Nikita.
Nikita at lemonYellow.net.
Okay.
Lemon yellow spelling.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Amaya.
Ameya Raikar, AMEYA
Hmm.
RAIKAR @lemonello.net.
Alright, सही है ना? Okay, yours, Nupur.
Nupur, NUPUR at lemonYellow.in.
Not in. Acha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I've sent it to you. Send it to me by Wednesday evening. That's your deadline.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll review that on
Is
Wednesday.
this the right format?
Sorry?
Is this the right format? It says Y Elixir.
Just hold on. It's the wrong customer name.
Yes, I thought so.
Yep, I think it's clean now. Anything else? Did you spot anything? Any other mistakes?
No. That's it.
Okay, great. So unless you have anything to share, so we'll call it a day. So I wish you all the best for your remaining of the day, and we shall meet on Thursday, 10 o'clock.
Yes.
And Wednesday, please share this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.